Okay, greetings everyone, whenever time zone you're in, and welcome to the International PR Workshop. I hope it's the first workshop in the series that we're going to run later this year and maybe next year. So stay tuned. And I'm very honored and pleased to be today here. So we're talking about international PR and how international PR can help tech companies, whether those are startups, seed Series A, Series B, Series whatever, or established tech company because there is, some kind of specific. And by the way, we all met thanks to you and Ukraine Tech Summit, which is also a tech event which gathers a couple of times per year different tech companies and startups from Ukrainian ecosystem and brings broader perspective of partners from European unions. Lucas represents one of them. So
Welcome.
it's one of the amazing stories how actually public relation and PR can help companies to get partnership, clients, revenue, funding, and whatever. I'm going to moderate discussion today. My name is Irina Menikovska. I'm a co-founder of startup and I work as a mentor and advisor with tech companies. And I'm super happy to introduce Vladislav Bazikala. He is a founder of U Ukraine Tech Summit, which is already there were three of them, so it's going to be fourth, I hope, this autumn or winter later. And Lukasz and Vladislav is joining us from London, and Lukasz Antkiewicz. So he has a very interesting perspective. So he was a journalist one, and now he helps companies with public relations. He's originally from Poland. So we have, these different spots. And without further ado, so actually, if you're going to have any kind of question, please put them in the chat. Whenever stream you're joining, we will see them and I will bring them to discussion. So you know that there is a rumor. There is no bad question. There is only question that you have not asked in a proper time to get the information. And today you have like 57 minutes to get the most valuable advices for people who work in PR, who help tech companies with public relations and media relations and get published in the right media. So don't hesitate and really use this opportunity. So, Lukasz, I'm very fascinated without, this two-faced stuff you have because once you were a journalist and then you switch to public relation, I know that maybe it's not the like thing that happen very often. So can you please tell a bit about yourself, your journalist experience, why you switched to public relation and how actually public relation is different and how it's different for tech companies especially?
It is. Welcome to everyone, frankly speaking, and it's nice to meet you during this meeting. Yes, so I'm based in Poland, in Warsaw, but also work from Brussels as well. So it means that I'm working for with Polish media and Central and Eastern Europe media, and as well with Brussels media because it's always everything is connected, especially Europe. So this is not like we running project not only in one country, but now like the PR is like the running project for whole Europe because this is very important for business, because this is like the common market, and that's why we are helping companies to be recognition during on the market. Yes, correct. So I was a journalist. I worked as a journalist. Through 10 years. So I started I was very young. So I started in high school, frankly speaking. I decided go to the radio station and start to have own program on shown in the radio. So it was like the beginning. I was studying in the high school and was like my first adventure. This was an adventure like a journalism. So yeah, so I tried to discover how journalism it looks like. And I started to there like the local radio station. Then I moved to the bigger media. So I work in Polish big media like Gazeta Wyborcza. This is like the main of that, like Metro, Daily, and it was like that I was focusing different, frankly speaking, different topics. So I wrote about health, about entrepreneurs. There was different topics and politics as well. And they moved to the other journal. I work for Axel Springer. Like they published one of the big daily in Poland as well, and I work in like the news radio station as well, which is called Radio Talk FM, for example. So this was like I have experience in different type of media, like like the printed media, like the online media as well, and like the radio. So this is like the different type of media, and it was a good experience, frankly speaking. And I was also like the small part of my career was like the part of working with politicians. So I work for them. I don't know. I know that is not like the topic of this discussion, but I work with like during the campaign for politicians, and I started after this experience which I have. Then I worked some kind of PR agency as well. So I try to combine this with the experience which I have as a journalist, as a, like the PR manager, like creating even political campaign. So I try to combine this experience and help companies how to build their image and cooperate with media. Because as you said, it's not like that we know we are reading media. We would like to have kind of to sell some kind of content to the media, but we have to understand how media works, because sometimes it's difficult to understand how they work.
What is the secret sauce actually how to get to the media? Because I mean, today you brought a couple of very interesting points. So you have this broader experience across the formats of the media, and today, I mean, each of us is exposed to like hundreds of types of media outlets, so like different social media, YouTube. I mean, and within each social media you have your own types of content. And journalists had the same problems with this information overload. So how you can like reach journalists? I mean, is there any secret sauce or just kind of system action plan what tech companies can do?
Yeah,
Maybe Lucas, sorry, I'll just add to the question how to reach the journalists and how to make sure that your piece of news or content will get published.
Yeah, it's all about read your role. Yeah, it's a good point.
This is like the complicated question. It means that the answer is not easy. The question is who we would like to attract exactly. So what is our goal, and who is our target? It means that if you would like to get politicians, so I can recommend you go to the printed media. and this is like I know that printed media now, for example, in Poland, is kind of outdated. So I mean that more people use social media and online media, they read that. So that like that the printed press is the sale of printed press is lower and lower every year. So sometimes that's the question our clients ask me, so that we should invest in printed media or not. So this is a kind of not easy answer, frankly speaking, because if you like attract politicians, I can tell you yes.
Let's switch to the commercial part, like brands, tech companies.
Let's tech companies. How to attract tech media?
Yeah, when it comes to tech media, if you like to attract clients or investors, you should go to the online media, and like a specific online media, like the tech media. We have a huge amount of media that they cover like the tech topic, and this is what we should to do that. So to try attract journalists from that side. And of course, it's not easy. Sometimes it's easy because many companies, they have products. They would like to sell these products. And exactly, if you go to the media and they tell you that we can print it or we can write about your product, but you can pay us for that. Mostly, this is like the pay us for that. But this a lot PR is like that you have the trick how to omit the system not to pay for that. It means that if you have an interesting story about you, what you are doing, if you have interesting storytelling, so that you can have kind of good story. So I mean that I assure you that the journalists will be interested in writing this. So the main
Maybe
step.
Vladislav, maybe you have some kind of like example of such kind of story from your, I don't know, latest cases, so audience could understand what we're here talking about.
I would like for Lucas to finish. I'll just kind of add a little bit to what he said. Yes, it's very difficult to reach out to target tech media, for example. Yeah, let's say TechCrunch and then business news aggregators where your story will be published, because PR is not guaranteed. PR coverage, media coverage is not guaranteed. It's not paid advertising. So I just want Lucas to finish. And Lucas, so in your experience, and then I will continue. In your experience, how would you approach target tech journalists from well-known tech media in order to maximize your chance to get your news published in this particular media outlet? Or if you contact 3, 5, 10, 20 journalists or editors to get your story published, what you need to do, because you're a former journalist, you know how they think.
Yeah.
how to find a way to charm them and get your piece of news published.
Okay, the key is your expertise, frankly speaking. So every company has kind of expertise, and people like the journalists are looking for the new expert of different topics. If you are expert of in the cybersecurity topic, for example, so you can be like the expert that you can have interview with journalists to say about your what you're thinking about cybersecurity, how to improve that. But it's not like you have to be careful not to talk about your products, frankly speaking, because it's still advertisement. You have to sell yourself as an expert, and they write your name, you write the name of your company, and people will be reading this what you said, and they see the name of company, so they can be interested in your products. Then after they see they can see what you are saying. They can this way you can try to build your kind of recognition of your company, because this is the goal, the first goal. People have to know that you exist. So this is the first step, that they have to know that you exist. And it means that if you sell them kind of your expertise, sell the journalist the expertise, so you can be on the list of the journalist, that if he or she will be writing on kind of specific topics, she or he will be calling you that she needs like the comment or opinion about something. But how to do that, frankly speaking? So we have different tools. First of all, we have the press release. You can write a press release and send to the specific media. Remember, it should be kind of specific media. Don't send this to every media, so because they will hate you. I remember that I got many press releases that I didn't have to write about that. I didn't want it to write that, because it was my topic, but I got kind of information about the topics I wanted to cover, frankly speaking. So so you
I'm
have
sorry,
to
jump in with AI questions here. So you talked about this, like focus on media and don't send the same information for everyone. But if we're talking about maybe not very big tech company, not Microsoft size, a little bit smaller, so they might not have, a bunch of copywriter staff inside. They may use some kind of AI tool. Help me to rewrite this press release for, I don't know, this type of media. I know that they typically are interested. So are journalists okay with this, like AI leveraging, not like bullshit AI leveraging? I mean, when you just create some kind of superficial whatever, but when you try to adjust to their like tone of voice, whatever, or it's not okay?
I mean, you can use the AI, so I mean, still you can do that, but probably they will recognize that it was written by AI. So AI is kind of specific, so you can recognize that, especially that many people started to use it. So people recognize how it looks. AI has the same way how they write press releases, how they summarize.
So we still need humans for this job. It's good sign.
Yeah, but frankly speaking, I use AI tools through the last month, and I start to recognize when people send me something, I see that was written by AI. So people started to recognize. So it's not the best way to write by AI. So probably you have to hire someone, or you have to try it. So you can have kind of different specific tools, but you can start to try to write press release, but probably you have to have abilities to write. So you have to have even a ghostwriter who can write on behalf of you. So it's good to have kind of very interesting press release. It means that something unique, so that journalists will be interested in writing the story, in writing your expertise. So you have to focus on press releases, for example. But also we have different tools, like you can write your statements. You can use social media like LinkedIn, and for example, to write your comments to the current topics. If something is happening with cybersecurity in Europe, for example, you can show as experts. So journalists also are following social media, so they can discover you if you will be very active on social media. But remember, don't send this press release to everyone. So, but you have to, if you in tech market, so probably you're writing something specific media, you see that the same name mostly in every daily, every website, on every website that you are reading. There's kind of a specific journalist who is only cover the topics regarding tech. So yeah.
And how you can, what can you share some examples of this uniqueness, how it may sound like? It's some kind of, I don't know, research done by you and you present in results, or it's, I don't know, numbers of years in industry, or what type, how we can, prove our expertise? Because press release is more about like some kind of new stuff that was released, and you may not have so many new stuff, so they would be statement, or you can use social media. But how you can literally prove, especially today with AI, when anyone can like create deepfake on anything, how you can prove your expertise, how you can show it and present it?
So what we always recommend our clients, for example, so it's like that every company has kind of data information about something. So when we start communication, so we try to prepare kind of small report about something. If you have data about cybersecurity, how it's changing, or maybe you have your clients experience some kind of issues regarding cybersecurity, ask them, about these troubles. Let's create kind of report and send to the journalist that we have kind of unique data that you can write about them, and start the communication. So it means that you have to have something unique. So you can generate, frankly speaking, this and create this. So if you have inside your company this kind of data, information, unique information, you can write this on the paper. You can create small paper and communicate this to the media, and they will see that you have something unique and that can be attractive.
Okay, Vladislav, maybe you have some kind of example here to share, or use case from your expertise. What in particular like media like, or they see that, okay, this is incredible stuff?
Yeah, sure. Before that, I will introduce quickly myself in terms of PR expertise and knowledge. I moved from Ukraine to Oxford and then London in 2003, in 2003, almost 22 years ago now. And I worked in B2B media companies, and then lately I worked for a global leader in press release distribution. for 11 years. And that's where I learned a lot about PR tech, about modern tools, and how our clients, our former clients, could pitch journalists, media, just as Lucas said, what they need to have in order to maximize their chance to get published in the top media outlets. And therefore, I can say that we need to understand, first of all, whether tech companies or startups would recruit their own PR department, who will be responsible for writing press releases, coming up with ideas, and then building these journalist media lists. I see that we have a question about how to build these media lists. So yes, there are lots of different tools how to do that. Therefore, just to highlight the pros and cons of startups and tech companies to have their own department, PR department, or outsource a PR agency or PR expert. So just a few points. Usually, it all depends on the strategy from that startup or company, the size of the company, and budget, obviously. If they have the budget to hire a team of 3-4 PR managers who will write press releases, a media relations manager who will build relationships with those journalists, and then doing media monitoring, and then writing content and connecting with those journalists and pitching them for these news. And obviously, not every company can afford top level specialists and to have them 12 months a year, every year, and obviously depending on number of PR campaigns, because if they run 1 or 2 PR campaigns a year, probably they don't need to have 4 specialists on payroll building the news just for 1 or 2 announcements. So therefore, it's all about budget, expertise, whether the agency might have a better expertise and experience and connections with the journalists and media than those recruited PR specialists. So the owner, the founder of the business have to decide, the management have to decide whether to find those experts and hire them or find an agency. Obviously, flexibility and scalability depends how regular they're going to distribute these news, how often they're going to connect with journalists. And also, if, for example, the company decides to not recruit a PR department and then just connect and work with a PR agency, for example, a PR expert, then they free their time for the focusing on the product development, on a strategy, on sales, other things, and they just outsource the function when they need it. So if they need it, let's say in October, to run a product launch campaign, they will approach them a few months in advance, agree on everything, finish the project, and they don't need to pay them after that. And then for another project in March, they again can approach might be another PR agency if they specialize in Asian media or American, depending on their markets, because some agencies are strong in certain geographical areas like US or Europe, and some agencies specialize on promoting your brands in China, for example, or Japan, and so on, or solutions.
Yeah, focus is important.
Yeah, so therefore there is a flexibility for the owners to pay for a certain project, and then they understand what they're paying for, because you have to train your PR department to make sure that they deliver on the same high level as an expert from a well-known or, let's say, experienced PR agency. So there is a sometimes difference in expertise of your PR team and a specialist agency for specific product, specific niche like tech. So that's one point. And coming back to your question about any examples. As I started London PR Lab 2 years ago, and then I organized, as you, Irina, mentioned, EU-Ukraine Tech Summit in Warsaw and Ukraine Tech Summit in London this year and last year. So I've spoken with different startups, and I try to understand how we can help them and what needs they have in terms of delivering their messages about their product, about their solutions, how to get into very competitive markets in US, in Europe, in other regions. So I mentioned that the approach that Lukasz explained, it's, let's say, a well-known classical approach where you need to work directly with the journalist. But again, as Lukasz mentioned, and as I know, we all know, journalists will receive approximately 200-300 news
That's
pieces
why I
per
said
day.
this so hard, because I mean we're all live and operate in a global world, especially tech companies. So its competition is really high in every segment for attention.
Yes, and when they send these 200-300 press releases, journalist is not gonna go through all these 300 press releases to choose one. So they either found news on a news aggregator or a piece at Thomson Reuters or Bloomberg, and they would like to expand on this topic, or they will get from, let's say, social media, and then they will contact the author or owner of these news, and then they will get more details. So it's very difficult for startups to launch their product and just use one or two journalists and hope that they will cover this topic. And obviously, if they target these journalists, they will target these journalists in a TechCrunch, in a tech media similar to TechCrunch, or business media, fintech media, and there is very little chance. So therefore, there are modern tools which allow to spread this news to top news aggregators, business news aggregators in US, in Europe, through local national news agencies, because they're central, let's say, central megaphone for this particular country. So these news can be distributed through these hubs, media hubs, which will get them at least 5, 10, 20 publications per country. And then if they target many countries in Europe, US, they can get around 100 plus publications internationally. And then independent journalists or any selected journalist from tech media can catch these press release and see this news on this news aggregator and pick it up and expand on this particular piece, and maybe contact the CEO, organize the interview as it happens, and then get more details.
Yeah, so you increase your visibility, and
Yes.
So to overcome this barrier when you're like 1 out of 200 or 300, whatever.
Exactly. So there are lots of tools and the platforms, media relation platforms. So my teams, when I worked for this international company, they sold subscriptions to the media platforms with over 1 million media contacts, live media contacts from all types of media, selected by country, by job title, what they write about, which channels they use, and so on. So yeah, these platforms are available. I know at least 20 or over 20 platforms which can give you these media contacts. But obviously, these platforms, you have to pay around, let's say, £7,000-10,000 a year minimum as a basic platform. But that if you want the functionality, if you want some AI functionality to help with the press release writing and so on, the price will increase. So, and as I said, again, I'm sure that Lukasz can share some success stories where somebody asked to help with reaching out to certain journalists in Poland or other countries and getting some publications from them. And obviously, I have quite a few case studies where the startups, Ukrainian startups who moved abroad, they asked to help them with the product launch coverage, and we helped them, and they received around 159 publications from news aggregators and tech media and business media.
Uniqueness trigger you there, because I start to get some kind of like comments from our audience. So they're asking about.
If I may ask what Vladislav said, so that's the reason business or companies, they hire us because they pay not only for creating press releases, like the content, but they pay us for the relationship we have with media and journalists. So it means that because of we are working with journalists, so we know them very well. For example, me, so I work as a journalist, so it means I know the society. So it means I use this contact, to help companies, frankly speaking, to deliver them the messages from the young companies, from young startups, because this journalist trust me, and I mean that I'm selling journalists this company, the products, and tell them you have to write about that. So that is like Władysław said, that it's not easy for startups to start a communication without help, frankly speaking. So the help is needed, and you can't omit this, because it's difficult to do that.
And not even startups. Even I worked with lots of companies, and the company had over 70,000 clients internationally. And even well-known companies, tech companies, sometimes they cannot get coverage in tech media where they want to have this coverage. And even though when they ask for CEO to get an interview and everything, it's not easy, even for well-known companies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe this is
Yeah,
the reason, because the issue is that they are focusing on selling products, not selling expertise, and this way it doesn't work. That. Yeah.
And it's a great point actually. So I wanted to circle back to Władysław example with this product launch you've mentioned. So which kind of like expertise, I mean, which kind of triggers or hooks you put it there, so it may like sound relevant to someone who is listening now?
Sure. So every time when we organize Ukraine or EU-Ukraine Tech Summit, either London or Poland, we have a few sessions on tech, and then AI and governance and ecosystem. And then we have 10 startups which pitch investors, VCs, and jury members. And this happened at the Google for Startups campus, our partner. They helped us 3 times, and we thank them for that. And then the winners, they had the prize of getting the press releases about their product launches distributed into international media, US, Europe, and so on. And therefore, we had a winner last time. We had a winner, the startup called Mosquito. And these
Was one of the judges.
And Irina was the judge, one of few judges, and it was a very, very interesting decision because we had so many tech startups about funnels, about AI solutions, about all these AI connected applications, and so on and so on. And then the winner was startup Mosquito. It's Anastasia Romanova. She moved to the US with her family and with her startup. And then she's based in New York, but they have a representation in Florida. They found out about the problem of mosquitoes transferring diseases in mass numbers, and especially in Florida, where it's very humid. And this threatens different farming businesses, agricultural businesses on a higher industrial level, not just personal level, but industrial level. And therefore, they came up with a solution. If I remember the solution and device correctly, how it works. So basically, they have a device which attracts female mosquitoes and then kills these female mosquitoes. And obviously, in this area, the male mosquitoes die out and there is no regeneration. So they solved this problem with this device, and they wanted to launch, and they're planning to launch this mini mosquito device this summer. And I helped them with press release distribution to the US media to make sure that US media getting familiar with the company, their story, the uniqueness of their product, and the solution, which companies and which segments of the market will try to use it, and they will be helped with this mosquito problem. So therefore, yes, they wrote the press release. We edited the press release. And as Lucas said, the press release should have something unique about it. Yeah, a unique facts of photos, stats, something that journalists would like to use in their publication. So yeah, we had photos of the product, and then we had some great facts about the industry and about story about the founder. That was very interesting. And when we published the press release, in the first few days we had around 40 publications, but then in a few more days we received 150, and then early the following week we received 159 publications, which spoke about the startup, about the founders, about the solution. So I have a link on the slide, but those who are interested to see the results and the report, which media published and which journalists picked it up in which regions of America, then I can share with those who are interested, no problem. So that's one of the examples. I have many, and not necessarily from startup industry, from tech companies. Previously, a few years back, our client was a well-known unicorn from Ukraine, Grammarly, the tech company Ajax, and lots of cybersecurity companies, international clients. So there are solutions and modern tools that can help any type of company to target their target media, because every company has their own target media and their own geographical target media, maybe in Poland, maybe in EU, maybe in US. Another startup that we helped with their product was solution was a Clearly Ukrainian startup, Clearly Help, mental health, and they targeted Latin America because they wanted to test their solution in Latin America. They didn't go to the US straight away. So different strategies, different companies, and the different solutions for each of them.
Yeah, and we have two questions more from the audience. So first is from a female founder, CEO. So she asks how to generate the list of media and journalists to contact and how to approach them with my topics to be invited if I don't want to pay for the coverage. I presume you get this one very often, to be honest, but I will drop down this for two. So first, how to understand who is your journalist, because today with like social media, you have a lot of journalists, a lot of media outlets, and you need to do a heavy research on your side. Okay, this is my media and who is responsible for my topic, so I can understand who I'm talking to. So how to generate this list? Is this also part of the tools you mentioned, or there is some kind of, I don't know, other secret so that companies can use to find, or you just how to understand, I mean, what your client, potential customer is reading, and how to make this media list today when we have so many medias?
If I may, so frankly speaking, the question is easy because
Yeah, sure.
you have to hire a PR agency to do that, because it's not easy. It means that it requires a lot of work, because of you have to update what is happening on the media, what they write. So it means that you have to follow every outlet, you have to follow every website you have. So it's not easy. It means that for one person who who is new on the market and would like to build kind of media position, so probably it's easiest way to hire someone who is expert in that and do that. I mean that probably you can do that yourself, but probably it will be very difficult. And and what is said before, that probably it takes time that you can sacrifice, you can spend for your work, frankly speaking, and developing business, not searching journalists who can write that. And find some journalist is one step. The second one is to contact with him or
yeah, it's the hardest part. But for the first part, what I can recommend from my experience, so it's like small shortcut and starting point. You may start to ask your customers what kind of media, bloggers or social media they're reading. At least you would start to collect this information. But as Lukasz said, it's a real piece of a job. I mean, today with so many media, it's very hard when you enter a new market, especially if it's different language, not the one you are able to understand, and how to understand. I mean, this made it at least credible, or it's just because
Exactly.
it will look different to your culture, how you used to evaluate credibility. So Vladislav, do you
Especially that you are working on different markets and different countries. You probably it's difficult to understand every market and every country how media works, because every country media works differently.
I agree with
it's
Lucas.
different.
Yeah,
Vladislav, do you have something to add on this?
sure. Lucas is 100% right that if you don't have extra budget, if you don't have resources, you can focus on your business and you can just outsource specialists who have already built the media list and they have it ready for you, just to adjust by geography, tech industry or fintech or pharma, any other industry, and then select certain journalists from this media list, and then they will prepare everything for your campaign. You will approve it, and then it will minimize your efforts and you will focus on your main business activity. And also, even if you have this PR department and you would like them to build by themselves, when they do that, they still have to buy additional tools. They have to get access to media databases. So there is a double expenditure. They have to buy these tools. They have to subscribe for 1 year or for 3 months for these tools. And therefore, there is another budget for the equipment, for the tools and instruments to use this PR. They're not going to just make a call to each journalist and write down their telephone number and do it every day, every week, every month. So obviously nowadays there are some AI tools and everything, but somebody has to manage this. And therefore, what I can do, I can show just one slide how the media database look like and what they can get if they approach an agency which specializes on press release distribution or content creation and distribution. So I'll quickly show just this slide. Select the screen. Yeah. And share. Can you see this slide? Yeah.
Yep.
So basically, just an example. It's a neutral platform which can contain journalist profiles with a description, what they do, what they write about, where they're based. Also, this media database, they show in the level of their activity, how often they publish press releases from different companies, and how popular they are, what's their readership, how popular this journalist is, and obviously how popular the news outlet is. So we can see here examples: the Business Insider, Tech Target, the Wall Street Journal. So basically a few tech and few business outlets. But some media databases can have more than 1 million contacts, and you can filter them down to your target audience, media target audience. And obviously, apart from these media databases, you can target other journalists outside of this media database with Newswire tools, Newswire solutions, something like that. And actually, I mentioned Mosquito, so here is an example of this Mosquito. So these Newswire distributions, they help startups, companies, any businesses distribute their news to different geographical locations, different types of news aggregators, whether it's news agencies or it's Yahoo Finance news page, MarketWatch, Benzinga, Wall Street Journal, and so on and so on. And the difference between media databases, you have to do this manually and select everything manually in terms of target audience selection, and then distribute press release. And then Newswire, you send a press release and the agency can connect and distribute your press release via one of 20 or 30 Newswire services, and agencies know which ones are the most effective. And they can distribute your piece to 20,000 TV, radio, online media, traditional media, news agencies to maximize your coverage. And that's where usually companies with experience, they combine the approach that Lukasz explained, targeting your target journalists that you know, then targeting news agencies, then using media database, and then distributing with the Newswire. So here,
You can make localized. I mean, if I don't know, need something to be published in Luxembourg or I don't know, Puerto Rico.
Yes, of
So
course.
those
There is a
you
filter.
can you can understand.
Yes, there is
Yeah.
always a filter to find specific media and then connect with them. But usually, when somebody launches a product international, nowadays, as we know, everything is online, right? So lots of businesses create it within 1-2 years. They sell it not to Luxembourg or not to Brazil or let's say Germany. They sell online internationally. So therefore, they need a global coverage. So that's the tools which help to get this global coverage. And obviously, when one country journalists see that there is a coverage in their neighboring countries, they're interested to learn more about this press release and solution. And there is a snowball effect when you see that US covered this news, then Europeans and other regions, they will pick it up because US covered this already. High reputation, credible media outlets cover this news. That means it's popular, it's trending. So everyone jumps on a hype train, basically. So that helps.
Okay. Thank you. So just to sum up Tatiana's question, which we all were responding on. So making list of media journalists is a real piece of job. So you can do an easy way and start to talk to your customers and do manual work. But with all that media outlets and journalists we now have across the globe, it would be not the easy way to do. So asking for help, it's a nice thing to do, and you can just save your time. And we have one more question. So what are the first steps for a company should take in terms of PR when entering a new market? For example, the UK market. So I think, Ladislav, you should respond first to this one because it's your second homeland market. Yeah. So, and this company is a hard tech company. So
again, as Lucas said, that you need to understand your target media. You need to understand who you want to target. So you're not going to just distribute press release in the UK to, let's say, agriculture news, fashion news, and then news about what musicals you're going to see next week and so on. So therefore, you have to be very specific. And obviously, each startups and company, I understand they will have somebody, not if marketing manager, but who understands marketing and PR. And then they have an idea how to target these media outlets, and they can just even Google top tech media in the UK, top tech media covering cybersecurity or such and such hardware, and therefore you will find some. And also you need to look for the most popular and most credible media in tech, with the highest number of readership, of visitors, page views, and then citations, and so on and so on. So when the end user gonna read news, or B2B partner or anybody else gonna read this news, they have to read this news ideally from a top media outlet in this country, because it gives you credibility and it gives you assurance that these media, well-known media outlets, Reuters, Bloomberg, TechCrunch, and so on, they decided to cover this news. That means it's newsworthy, and something is interesting about this company, unique. And therefore, it's a very good situation where you have these media outlets covering your topic. Therefore, you select your target audience, and then you can combine, as I mentioned, Lucas's example, where you find those editors or journalists who cover this topic in this media in UK. And then additionally, you will select the wider tech media audience to maximize your chance to get coverage. And then when you understood that, try to build relationship with those journalists who write about it, contact them, explain the USPs of your company, why you're unique or expertise, and therefore provide them with stats, graphs, unique data to support your content, because general statements are not very popular. Therefore, you need to support with some evidence, and then the uniqueness and originality. If I'm correct, Lucas, you can add to this.
Yes, I mean that it works in every country. I mean, this is the same way. But what I can add, so first of all, you have to understand what you would like to, what is your message. So it means that you have to be prepared for that to start your communication, what you are doing, because without that, probably it will be disaster. So frankly speaking, you have to know exactly what are your messages. These messages have to be very simple. The journalists have to understand your message and what you like to say, because probably you have a huge expertise in your company, but sometimes it's very technical, and people you work in some kind of industry, and probably journalist who is writing about different solutions and different topics, probably it's not like the expert like you, but probably if you will be talking and trying to deliver him or her kind of information messages, so probably it's difficult to understand what you would like to say. So the messages have to be very simple and that everyone can understand. So first you have to create these messages. You have to prepare. We call it as a question and answer. So it means you have to build kind of list of questions that you can receive from journalists, from other people that will be asking you about that. Because you deliver something, but there will be kind of questions. You have to be ready for that, to answer that. And this answer have to be same in every time. So it means you can't answer the same question to other journalists and you have the different answers. So you have to clarify your strategy. You have to clarify your messages. Frankly speaking, sometimes what the mistake that many companies they make. So this is that they try to spin. It means that they are not honest. So it means they overestimate some kind of data or kind of perspective of development of company, and then in next 2 years it can will turn out that it's not the true what you said 2 years ago. Remember that everything you will say. So there will be the internet. The story of internet is huge. So it means in next 2 years that someone can ask you, what is the goal that you promised achieve this in next 2 years, but you didn't that, and you have the crisis. What we are doing. You have to be ready. Frankly speaking, when you start in PR communication, you have to be ready for communication crisis, because when you started, competition is huge. So you have to be ready for that. That maybe it can be a crisis. But remember, you sell your products. People. When your clients they will see you in the media. Maybe there will be clients who will be complaining on your products. So you have to be ready to respond to this complaint. So this is it's not easy. If you start that, you have to be ready for that, with every aspect. Even you have to prepare your employees for that they have to know how to respond for media questions, for example. You can ignore media, the question from the media. This is other topic, because you have to respond for them on them.
And I agree with Lukasz, and even the message and even the headline. The headline should be straight to the point, explaining what it's about, because lots of startups, or let's say the not very experienced companies in terms of PR, they write very complicated long headlines, just trying to explain what everything is about, but straight to the point, sharp headlines, at the same time not misleading, or not, as Lukasz said, not, let's say, faking something or lying about something or misleading, basically. Journalists, straightforward headlines and visuals as well, because visuals, photos, now embedded videos. Nowadays, my kids cannot live without watching something, not even reading, but watching phones, TV, and everything. So same with us. We would like to see the story, not just read 2 pages. We would like to see, let's say, a short video about the product or about solution or about some issues and so on and so on. I see that we have 4 or 5 minutes left. Irina, I know that we wanted to quickly give some tips in terms of how to find investors and how to attract investors with the help of PR. I'll quickly throw my points, and then Lukasz and yourself as an experienced mentor can add for our audience. So my points be very simple. startups and companies have to be very proactive. They have to use experts and some agencies which can connect with investors. Obviously, there are lots of different events. I'm not advertising EU Ukraine Tech Summit. There are lots of different events where you can meet these investors, because we had investors as judges, and we organized speed dating of startups with investors, VCs, and angels in Poland and in London. Then, obviously, using their PR activities in order to build their profile within internet, build their profile. So when investors Google news or research about their startup or company, you have a number of positive stories, wins and awards and achievements published in different types of media, your target media, business, tech, and so on and so on. So therefore, events, PR, speed dating, any types of activities which will create your positive and successful image.
Yeah.
Thank you,
So
Vladislav.
completely agree. So you have to be visible, frankly speaking, because if you are not on the internet, if you are not on the press, probably it's difficult to trust you. So visibility is a big point, a big key point to get investors, even like the public investors, because we are talking about the private investor, but we help also companies to get public funds. So this is crucial then, that you have to be visible, that the government or like the public institution can trust you, that you exist. So that's like as I said, as I'm trying to say my clients that PR is not like the cost, because I think this is the cost. Because the first question which I always get, so how many clients I will have from the PR? It's not the simple question. And I can, tell you that you will have 100 new clients. It's not easy that. So this is not the cost. This is like the investment in your visibility in the and the benefits are the number of benefits are huge. Frankly speaking, it's sometimes difficult to count that. So if you are considering to invest in PR, invest, not like the paying for PR, but invest that. So I can only that tell you that you have to do that if you like to have new clients and have new investors. So that's crucial.
And there are some formulas. Sorry, I just quickly, some formulas how to measure how many publications you received. If you compare to how much money you would have spent on advertising to publish in this media, but PR will come at probably 10% of their advertising budget, and you can get coverage even at a higher value for free.
Yeah, exactly. And advertisement is like the people see that this is the ads. So you see, they react differently. So, but if you have the article, like the publication in the media, so people can read that and they omit that. So sometimes advertisement people they omit that. So yeah, so I agree with Vladislav.
And Irina, your point or points?
Different.
Say it again.
So my point. I just was trying to say. So basically, my point is that PR and investment relation, both of the things about long-term thinking, and it's very important to establish some kind of like really long-term relations and deliver value. I know those are buzzwords, but if you can like convert what you know, what you do, what problem you're working on, and what solution you're presenting into expertise, interesting data without selling yourself explicitly, it works, and it actually helps to build the trust, because trust you can convert in long-term relations, and long-term relations you can convert in higher probability of getting something like funding, or I don't know, get mentioned in media outlet, or get invitation to speak somewhere. So It's just about this, marathon thinking. I think it's the most important thing in this case. And just to everyone likes to this bottom line. So I will sum up our bottom line. So basically, PR, it's necessary. And especially if you're working on high competitive market or well-established market like United States, and for some industries it's just really, really critical, like healthcare, or if you would like to get funded or work with public institution. And PR is not the easy way to do, because today with the amounts of data you have, you need to understand whom you need to address and how you need to address them. I mean, journalists and media, what they may be interested in, and how to craft your own story and expertise so it would be relevant. And hyper personalization here the key, and AI still doesn't resolve this issue, just because journalists, they're very good with words, so they understand which words comes from human beings and which are not. So invest in this opportunity, ask for help, look for help, or build your own expertise. It's up to you. It's a basically strategic decision. And just to sum up, so stay relevant. And I think staying, and I like the point about the data. So I would highly recommend everyone to start to collect your personal industry data as fast as you can, because if you have some specific data of, I don't know, some consumer behavior, whatever, it may be very relevant to journalists, and it's not the easy one to find in Google. So start to collect those one, because data gives you an opportunity to build unique story and present your expertise. So thank you, everyone. And Lukasz, Vladislav, sharing your experience and this fascinating mosquito stories. No one likes mosquitoes, so I hope mosquito will continue its path. And thank you for sharing this perspective and being honest with that PR is not the easy way to do, but it's necessary and it pays you back in years.
Thank you.
Everyone ask our question and go in to watch us later. So feel free to find on LinkedIn Lukasz or Vladislav. You can read them out, ask some kind of question or support, and please put comments with this webinar so we can understand how to focus maybe and adjust content of the upcoming webinars. So what your guys are mostly interested in.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And